Jack Cunningham was a high school basketball phenom who walked away from the game, forfeiting his future. Years later, when he accepts a coaching job at his old high school, he may get one last shot at redemption. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot here with a brand new early movie review for a film that comes out this Friday, March 6th, and that is The Way Back, directed by Gavin O'Connor and stars Ben Affleck. Very excited to see this movie, but even more excited to talk about it with you all in this non-spoiler review. Before we dive into it, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Movie Files and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel, and I really appreciate it. And last but not least, if and when you all get a chance to see The Way Back, I want to know what you all thought of this movie. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So this film was a film I was very excited for, guys, because it had a lot of things that I really enjoy. Number one, I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. I'm a big Gavin O'Connor fan. They've worked together in the past, and they did a really good job of doing so. Gavin O'Connor has directed, if not, one of my favorite sports films, if not my favorite, in The Warrior. So I was very excited to see him do another sports movie. And then, speaking of sports, basketball is my number one sport, guys. I grew up playing it as a kid, in middle school, in high school. I watch it on, TV, and I'm just a big fan of it. So you give me all those things, I was going to see this movie no matter what, but I got the chance to see it early. So let's just jump into the positives here. As I had mentioned, this film does star Ben Affleck, who I am a big fan of, and it's been pretty public that he's been going through some things in the last few years on a personal level, and I think it was very fascinating that he decided to play this role, Jack, who is this particular, there's a lot of similarities there in a sense where you have this basketball player who was a star, top of his game. He decides not to go any further in basketball. He struggles with some stuff in life, and he's kind of at this position now. Look at Ben Affleck in real life. This big movie star has this really great family, and then some things kind of fall apart. So there's some things there that you can definitely relate to. But I thought that, some people don't like when people mix in their personal lives into their work life. But I think sometimes you get some of the best art, and I think that that's something that happened in this movie with Ben Affleck, with him being able to relate to this character to a certain extent, because there's obviously things that this character goes through, Jack, that Ben Affleck probably doesn't go through. And I think he was mentioned so in a recent article that I just read for something that happens to Jack, one of his family members, and something that Ben Affleck couldn't really imagine happening to him in his personal life. So there's obviously some differences there, but alcohol struggles that Ben Affleck has went through in his life, as well as this character Jack. And it was just really fascinating to see him go through those levels, because again, it's dark, it's depressing at times, really hard to watch. But I think that that's sometimes some of the best work, man. When people can find those inner demons and find those things that they connect to in their characters and bring it to the big screen, it really kind of brings out a great performance. And I think this is one of the best performances, in my opinion, that I've seen from Ben Affleck. And this is coming from someone that's seen a lot of Ben Affleck movies. So I thought his performance was great. Him going through his personal struggles with the whole drama aspect of this film, him and his family and the foundation that he's built, and kind of how that fell apart. Him as a kid and the struggles he went through with his dad. You get all that stuff there. But then you throw in this basketball element, him joining this team that's not in the best position, and as a basketball team. And even though you would think this is kind of a conflict of interest, how can someone that's at the lowest point in their life bring up these guys? Well, you got to check out this movie, because you see that it happens. Team is at the low point, as well as Ben Affleck's character Jack. But as a team kind of succeeds, his life kind of gets better, and you kind of see how those things correlate. And I thought that was a fascinating aspect of this movie. Gavin O'Connor, as I had mentioned, was the director of this film. And again, he's worked with Ben Affleck, and you could just see that dynamic and that kind of comfortability with each other, where, Ben Affleck trusts Gavin O'Connor to bring everything to the light. And, that's great when you see that relationship kind of go there, because Gavin O'Connor is such a fantastic director. And I think that all his films have this kind of grittiness and this rawness to it. And he definitely has that element to this film. So there's a lot of good things going for it, guys. There's some funny moments, and it was more funnier than I would have thought it was going to actually be. The drama is definitely there, and there's some hard-hitting drama, but there's some funny moments as well due to some of our characters, like the assistant basketball coaching team. Some of the players have some really good moments. So this film has a lot going for it, but this film definitely has some criticisms for me. Number one, I would definitely say that this film has somewhat of a identity crisis within the script, because this film has a really good drama aspect, but then they try to throw in the sports aspect, and you're kind of getting into both of these stories. But then I feel like by the second and third act, the stories just kind of fall apart from each other. I think that the sports aspect of this movie had a lot of potential, but it has some very cliche moments. There's like this montage where you're seeing them at a low point, but then all of a sudden they're like this really great basketball team. You learn a little bit about the players. Like, this is one particular player that's like a Kawhi Kawhi Leonard to me. He's like a quiet assassin, and he has this kind of relationship with his dad that they kind of touch on, but then they kind of forget about that particular player. And there's one particular player that has this kind of conflict with Ben Affleck's as the coach, and you kind of get a little bit of insight of his life, but then they kind of shy away from that because they go back to the drama stuff that Ben Affleck's go through, and then there's a particular storyline that they kind of keeping under the wraps in my opinion, but then they kind of throw this particular element into the storyline, and that's where I just kind of have an issue with this movie. Was the script was just like, it was a really good drama, a really good sports film, but it had the potential to be a great drama and a great sports film, but it just didn't clash well together in my personal opinion. Again, it's very cliche when it comes to the sports aspect because, again, you've seen this sports story before. It's an original IP, but you've seen this type of basketball movie where, again, the basketball team's terrible, but then all of a sudden they're great, and you see all that stuff that goes through there. And I wish we would have learned more about the players and kind of their relationships more and kind of, everything that was going on there. But then the second and third act of the film really kind of forget all that stuff, which I can understand because at the end of the day, it is a drama film and you're watching this man go through his struggles, but I wish the film would have found a better way of mixing those two storylines in together. But even though I kind of, didn't like how the story kind of played out in regards to balancing the two, I still think this is a really good film, guys. I would recommend you all checking it out. When you do, let me know what you thought of it. So I'm going to give The Way Back 3.8 out of 5. I really wanted to love this film, guys, because, again, it had a lot of great elements, and I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck, Gavin O'Connor, sports drama, basketball. But like I said, I think that they just couldn't find the great mix of mixing in those two elements, those two genres, like something like Warrior, for example. But like I said, 3.8 out of 5. I recommend you all checking it out. It's a really great performance by Ben Affleck. And like I said, I think you're going to have some funny moments, some sad moments that you can see within this film. So that's my thoughts on The Way Back, 3.8 out of 5. Let me know what you all thought of this movie when you saw it. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Share this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts and check out some other content that I have on my channel now. Movie reviews for like The Invisible Man, TV reviews for The Outsider, and just so much great stuff on this very channel and many more things coming pretty soon. So thank you all for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.